Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire and I have a new video concept that I'm testing on you. I would love you to tell me if you like it or not, and I really genuinely want you to be honest with me. Click the like button if you actually like it. If not, you can click the thumbs down button, and I would appreciate your comments as well. I'm going to put chapters so you don't have to watch everything. You can choose the bits that you want to watch, choose the bits that you skip through. And just to give you a brief idea of what's going to happen, I'm going to talk about my scent of the day. I'm going to talk about what's new to me, i.e. new fragrances in my collection, but also new things that I might have tried and tested. And that's going to include, on this occasion, a new Tom Ford fragrance as well as a new Maison Kukdjian. Then we're going to go into my most worn fragrances. And then finally, we are going to cover a hot topic. And the topic is consumerism is not self-care. And the first thing is my scent of the day. So today I have been wearing this one. And it's from Dreamhouse Ikiryo. And it's called, is it Swan Maiden? Yeah, the Swan Maiden. I haven't worn this one in quite a while. And I really felt like it today. I generally don't enjoy aquatic, like typical aquatic fragrances, your cool waters and issey miyakis, etc. I just generally don't enjoy those fragrances for myself. I'm happy to smell them on other people, I just don't choose them. This is sort of an aquatic, but it is slightly different. It does have an animalic note. Unfortunately, there's a real animal product in here, so that might be off-putting, I think, for several of you. I didn't realise that when I bought it, but there is a real animal thing in here that does give it a little bit of an animalic touch, but I do think it lends it in that direction that works with the aquatic nature. But it is a floral first and foremost. It has a stephanotis, a note which is similar to jasmine. It's really, really pretty, but it's almost got like a white lotus feel. If you imagine like flowers floating on a serene, beautiful pond. I don't really find it algae-like, seaweed-like, but I do get an aquatic nature that maybe is slightly lake-like. Sometimes if I go paddleboarding, certain lakes, if I end up going in the water and then I come home and I can smell the lake on me, kind of like that. But it's very, very pretty and powdery as well. Pretty powdery floral with a touch of animalic and a touch of lake. And yeah, I've really enjoyed wearing this today. As I say, it's been quite a while since I last wore it. So now we're going to talk about fragrances that are new to me. I'm going to start with what's new to my collection. Well, there's a miniature. There's a full bottle and there's a miniature. So the full bottle, I did mention this in my last video. Shalimar Souffle de Parfum. I used to have this going back quite a long time, quite a few years. I had a bottle of this, then I got a backup bottle because I loved it so much, and then I wore it a lot and kind of stopped wearing it. I overindulged, and I ended up selling my backup bottle first, and then I wasn't reaching for the remaining bottle and I sold that as well. The fickle life of a fragrance lover. However, I recently tried the new Jasmine Millésime Shalimar version. I did do a video on that, so go back and have a look if you're interested. And there was aspects to that that reminded me of the Souffle de Parfum, and it made me crave Souffle de Parfum again. I prefer this to the Shalimar Jasmine. It's nice enough, but it's not that interesting to me. This is fluffier, softer, muskier, clean. There's no sort of harsh or sharp edges. So Souffle is, I believe it's a mixture of white florals, but for me it's orange blossom dominant. Very, very fluffy, musky, but slightly sweetened. So it feels like there's a little bit of vanilla in the mix, but vanilla never stands alone or stands out. It sort of mixes with that fluffy, musky and floral thing. I really, really enjoy it. It's very clean, very approachable, mass appealing, everyday, day-to-day kind of fragrance. Not that I wouldn't wear it on a night out, but it probably wouldn't be my first choice. I don't find it particularly sexy or bold. It's more everyday, approachable, pretty kind of scent. But it is also currently one of my most worn fragrances because it's new to me. Now I've got this little miniature really just to try. I have recently explored some Jean Patou fragrances, and one that I've never properly tried is this Joy. And I got this miniature on eBay for something like £5 or £6. And I thought I'll just do that because I don't know if I need to buy a whole bottle. I'm really not into buying perfumes that I'm not going to wear. I'm just not into that anymore. I find it anxiety inducing to own fragrances that I'm just not using. I just don't enjoy that. And so a miniature was a compromise because I can't really try this anywhere. It's discontinued. The whole line Jean Patou is discontinued. So I got the miniature. I did have Eau de Joy, which I blind bought on eBay and then resold, and it is quite similar actually. I think I like this better. It's definitely very floral. It's rose and jasmine, quite possibly other florals, yellow and white florals. It's quite the bouquet really. It's a bouquet, but it's very airy as well. It's a bit heady as well as being airy. It does feel old-fashioned, as you might expect. It's a fragrance that came out many, many years ago. It has a musky, clean undertone. I think there is an animalic note. I believe there might be some civet, but it's not particularly standing out in this version at least. I don't know how old this particular version is. I could happily wear this, but I don't feel like it's the kind of thing I would wear very often. So I won't be hunting down a bottle, but it's really nice to have a smell. I just enjoy all those lovely florals and that just general vintage but decadent vibe. Yeah, so that's really nice. So that's Joy de Patou. And there is one more new to my collection that I don't think I have really spoken about much or at all. And that is Chanel No. 5. It's the Eau de Parfum current formulation. I finally came around to being a Chanel No. 5 girl. Came around a bit backhanded. Backhanded? My initial falling into sort of like the Chanel aldehyde trap was with 22. Chanel No. 22, really got to know that and fell in love with that. And then I had a few bottles of different ages of the Chanel No. 5 Pure Parfum, so some very vintage, some more modern. And whilst I appreciated the vintage ones, they definitely have quite a strong animalic note to me. I actually really loved the current formulation of the Pure Parfum. And then I thought, well, it can't be that far away from the Eau de Parfum. And my worry was the Pure Parfum was quite expensive, even though I got it discounted, secondhand, cheap. It's still quite expensive. And I decanted some and I was spraying it. And I just thought, I'm going to get through this really quickly. Why don't I try the Eau de Parfum? Maybe I'll like it as much as the Pure Parfum, or, you know, near enough. And I do. I do still think that the Pure Parfum has the edge. If I could have a nice big bottle of the Pure Parfum, that would be great. And to be able to spray it as well. When you dab it on, you just don't get the projection that I want. You just don't get the performance that I want from a dab on. So I got this second hand. I got it for a very, very good price, and I have actually been wearing it quite a lot. So this would also go in my most worn section. But I'm not going to talk about it twice because that would be annoying. Chanel No. 5, I don't think anyone really needs me to describe it, but just for those, if there is someone in the audience who doesn't know, it is aldehydic, which means it's fizzy, sort of sharp, champagne bubbly-esque on the top. There's florals, I think there's rose and jasmine, maybe ylang ylang, I'm not quite sure, but it's not one of those fragrances where you can specifically pick out individual notes, I don't think. It does smell floral, but it also smells a bit spicy. I always think of nutmeg. I don't think that's a listed note, but that's what I get. And it's a little bit ambery as well, but it is not a typical amber perfume like they are today, like they're made today. It's not, it's just a little bit sort of vanillic, mildly resinous, but it is not like really heavy amber. I really like this and I'm very, very happy to have it. So sort of staying on the new to me thing, I have tried a couple of brand new perfumes. I was in Lakeside shopping centre, which is in Essex, the other day, and my boyfriend sort of took me into a department store, and I didn't know what department store I was in, and I said to him, well, where are we? This is great. There's loads of niche perfume. I was not expecting that because I always thought Lakeside wasn't that great for fragrances. And he said, oh, I think it's H something, it's H something. And I'm like, what, House of Fraser? I don't think so. Anyway, it turns out it's H Beauty, which means Harrods. So it's like a smaller version of Harrods within Lakeside, and had a lot of, there's nothing like the choice that you have at Harrods, but a really decent selection of niche fragrances. And I saw the new Tom Ford, I forget the name, but you'll be able to see it on the video that I'm cutting in now. And I didn't spray it, I just smelt it from opening up the lid and smelling it. I think the bottle was empty actually, that's why I didn't spray it. Very smoky, sort of a smoky amber. What do we compare it to? I don't know. Halfetti-ish, but maybe not quite so skanky. But to me, very smoky. I think maybe if you like Amber Absolute, you might like it, but maybe it's a bit less sweet than that. Definitely resinous, smoky amber. Not my cup of tea at all, very dry. So for me, I did not enjoy that. If you have very similar taste to me, you probably won't like it. And then we went over to Maison, France's Kurkdjian, and the sales assistant was, you know when mosquitoes keep biting you, what are they? They're annoying. She really wanted to sort of push me to try all like certain perfumes on my skin when I already had perfume on. But anyhow, I don't want to be moaning, but she was annoying. She wanted me to try the Harrods exclusive, I think it's called Rev, is it Rev? I think it used to be Ciel de Gamme, and now it's Rev d'Ombre. She wanted me to try that on my skin because otherwise I won't be able to get the pink pepper top notes. Anyhow, I don't just spray stuff on my skin without smelling it first, and she really tried to stop me spraying it on paper. It was like really important to her that I put it on my skin. I'm glad I didn't. Not that it's bad, by the way. I did spray it on the paper and I immediately smelled patchouli, but she told me no, it's pink pepper, because obviously her sales notes tell her that the first thing you smell is pink pepper, so that must be true. But for me, it was patchouli straight away. And actually on the card, very sophisticated, slightly amber patchouli scent. I think there's a floral in there. I didn't really pick up on it, but I did think it was a very nice, if you like your patchouli, not that it was an overdose of patchouli, but it was a bit too much patchouli for my personal taste. The patchouli sort of stayed on the card. I didn't put it on my skin. On the card, the patchouli stayed all the way through. You know, the card still smelled of patchouli days later. But it was a nicely done, very well crafted fragrance. Not my cup of tea personally, but I didn't smell any really harsh, nasty aroma chemicals. Night and day. Baccarat Rouge is the complete opposite of this perfume. Subtly done, very nicely done, classic kind of perfume. So if that's what you like and you like a bit of patchouli, then I would say check it out. It didn't smell particularly floral to me. I think it will appeal more to men than women just in general, but overall I think it's, yeah, really good perfume, just not my kind of thing. Now I did find one that I liked, and that was the new version of Apom. Apom means a piece of me. There used to be an Apom Femme that was long ago discontinued, and there was also an Apom Parfum, which may be probably discontinued now as well. I don't remember the Parfum version, but I did have a sample of the Parfum, and I quite enjoy the Parfum. I never quite felt like I loved it and needed to own it, but I did enjoy it. Very, very floral perfume. I always thought it was sort of like a tuberose or something, very blousy and heady and in your face about the florals in the Apom Femme. And this version is supposed to be the men's and the women's sort of combined, but still to me it smelled feminine. I had it on my hand, I was happy to put that one on my hand. Nice sort of muskiness in the dry down, very, very floral, balanced with sort of light woodsiness. Again, no nasty, unbearable aroma chemicals whatsoever. Very, very nicely crafted perfume. Do I need to buy a bottle? No, but I would happily wear it and I would definitely enjoy it. I would feel very feminine. I'd feel quite sexy in it. So I do recommend that if you liked the original Apom Femme, it's almost like just a slightly understated version. It's not that different to me. It's supposed to have lavender in it. I didn't pick up on that myself. Obviously I only tried it the once and I was smelling it all day. It was really strong, really long lasting, but not obnoxious or anything like that. So I do recommend that one. Now on to what am I buying or potentially buying. And there's, I haven't really been into buying anything recently. I just haven't felt like buying anything. I'm not interested. I have my perfumes that I'm really loving, and obviously I do have my new Souffle de Parfum. I'm just not really looking to add anything to my collection. However, I do miss sampling. I really love sampling new perfumes, and I've been meaning to get some samples from Juliette Rose Parfums or Perfumes. Juliette Rose Perfumes, I think it is. I've been meaning to get some samples because she has released quite a few new ones and I am a fan of her work. Very affordable, British, small independent perfumer. She's got a website, she's also on Etsy. So I ordered some samples from Juliette Rose and they will hopefully be arriving in the next day or two. There's some interesting stuff. One of them's a laundry-like perfume. I really fancy having something quite soapy in my collection. I feel like that's one thing that I don't really have. So yeah, interested to try that. And there's quite a few others. There's one called Mochi. I only tried the I think it's a Japanese dessert. Correct me if I'm wrong, or Chinese. I think Japanese. I tried one the other day. My boyfriend said, have you ever tried these? And I hadn't, and you know, they didn't look that interesting, but he was right, they were really good. They were really good. So there's a fragrance called Mochi, so yeah, interested to try that. I don't generally love full-on gourmands, but I still enjoy trying them. And then I also have ordered some samples from Fleur De Piel, independent perfumer called Bertie. He is in Spain, I think Barcelona, could be wrong, but happened to be in the UK when I wanted to order the samples and got in touch with him, and so he's been able to send them whilst he's over here in the UK. So I've got those coming as well. I did talk about some of his perfumes quite a long time ago, quite a few years ago. I think it was during the pandemic, and I found them really good quality, more classic perfumery, and at that time none of those aroma chemicals that bother me. They smelt good. I didn't fall in love with one in particular, but I always felt like I wanted to explore more from the house. So I have some samples coming from them as well. And that is it in terms of buying. I will of course be sharing my thoughts. My favourite thing to do is first impressions of samples, and I love to do it without the note listing and just sit there and sniff and see what I get, see if I actually get any of the listed notes, what else do I get, all of that stuff. For me, that is so much fun. Let me know if you enjoy watching those. I know you can't learn too much from them because you're testing them on paper, but I enjoy doing it, so I hope that you enjoy watching that kind of stuff, because there will be obviously more of that happening. So we're going to go on to most worn. Obviously, I've already told you I've been wearing Chanel No. 5 quite a lot, Shalimar Souffle de Parfum, and this will come as no surprise to many of you. Chanel 22 has been getting so much airtime on my channel because I just absolutely love it. This is a big old 200ml bottle of the Eau de Parfum, the current formulation. This is such a versatile fragrance. For me, it's bold enough. It makes a bit of an impact, but it is not obnoxious or annoying. It sort of melds into your skin. There's ylang-ylang, a little bit of vanilla. It's very aldehydic in the opening, but in a really fresh and sort of zesty way. It's almost like breathing in snowy air, you know, really crisp, cold air. I really enjoy this, and it's definitely all year round. I love it, so I've been wearing that a lot. Another one that I've been wearing a lot is this discontinued gem. Unfortunately, the lid is crap. It doesn't click in or stay on. This is Sculpture, and it's Nikos is the brand, Nikos Sculpture. I used to wear this. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I would guess late teens, early 20s. I felt so bougie when I used to wear this. I found it, I think it must have been at an airport. This is certainly not something that was everywhere. It wasn't in Boots and Superdrug and, you know, the usual suspects where I would visit when I was younger. But there's something about the spiciness. It's an ylang-ylang scent, and it's quite a spicy ylang-ylang, but it's an oriental, it's sort of vanillic without going into gourmand territory, but it is almost, so it's like a flormond, which is, you know, my favourite thing. With this, it's got this freshness to it, not like an aquatic, but almost. Again, maybe there's aldehydes, maybe something like that gives you that sort of cooling effect. I just really, really love it. I still feel special when I wear it. So I found this on eBay, managed to get it for a good price. It's quite rare. It's kind of hard to get one for a good price, but if you are patient, then, you know, it can happen. And yeah, I got that as a new bottle, and you can see there's a fair dent in it. So yeah, really, really enjoying my Sculpture. Now, I've mentioned this one a few times recently as well. It's Chanel Allure Eau de Parfum. This was very kindly sent to me by a fragrance friend, and my initial reaction was, yeah, this is nice, but it wasn't instant love. And then as I got to know it, a few times that I wore it, I would just really love it, especially in the dry down. Quite vanillic, quite powdery. It's floral, a little bit fruity, but it is not just a generic fruity floral. It smells rich and sumptuous, but also kind of exotic. I think there's ylang-ylang. I can't find confirmation of that. Chanel don't list ylang-ylang. However, they do put ylang-ylang in the flanker to this, the Eau Sensuelle. And I think that there was always ylang-ylang in here as well. That's what I smell. And I am a big ylang-ylang fan, hence, you know, well, I think everything's got ylang-ylang in my collection these days. But yeah, this is just lovely. Another one that I would say is kind of musky, clean musky as well, but definitely a decent amount of vanilla, but not a vanilla that is really cupcakey and sweet. It feels sophisticated, grown up, and very much blended with the florals and the musk and everything. So really, really nice perfume, and it's just comforting And another one that's just so easy to wear and easy to like, and it feels approachable, and it's definitely not going to offend anyone. And I've just brought this down because I was talking about Juliette Rose. This is what her bottles look like. This is the one that is I Dreamed of a Rose. I wore this one the other day. It's a fruity, rose violet, musky, quite bold scent, very, very strong. So for me, this is like one to spray minimally. And I'm finding that with quite a few of her fragrances, a very strong, oily consistency. So very potent. And yeah, this is just a really pretty sort of almost gourmand rose, almost. It's a slight tartness to it as well. That is I Dreamed of a Rose from Juliette Rose Perfumes. And finally, we're going to talk about the topic of the day, which is, I'm going to keep it brief, don't worry, but I would love you to get involved in the comments. And that is, consumerism is not self-care. So really, I have talked about before on my channel how we can get ourselves in trouble by overspending on fragrances, whether it's a financial issue or a space issue, or just that feeling that's not very pleasant when you own too much stuff. And I think a lot of the time we can justify buying another bottle of perfume because I'm feeling down, oh, I've gained some weight, so and so's been horrible to me, or my relationship's not going well, or work's getting me down. I'll just buy a bottle of perfume, and we'll label it as self-care. In my opinion, is the opposite of self-care. It's self-sabotage, it's self-destruction. If you are not really needing to buy another bottle of perfume, then I think for me, self-care has been branded incorrectly lately, and for quite a few years. Self-care is taking care of yourself, your life, your house, your own property. So an act of self-care to make yourself feel better could be going to your perfume collection and giving it all the bottles a little clean and dusting the shelves. It could be creating a spreadsheet where you record everything that you have, if that's your thing. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. If you're one of those really organised people that like to do that, then that could be self-care. Could be decluttering, getting rid of some perfumes that you're not reaching for anymore, like selling them, getting that money back and putting that towards something meaningful. Self-care is also the stuff that isn't that fun. It's going to the dentist for your regular checkup. It's making sure you go and get that niggly health issue checked out that you're pretty sure it's nothing serious, but what if it is? It's those things are self-care just as much as a long bath with candles. Love that, by the way. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I think the problem is we see people on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and everyone's showing off all the things that they bought, all the things that they own, and it makes you feel like if you could just have that, if you could just have an extra perfume, that particular one, then you're going to feel better. And it doesn't really work. You might get a moment, you might get a little hit of dopamine when that box arrives in the post, and when you unbox it, and then you wear the perfume. But then if another box arrives the next day, you're going to start to feel a little bit overwhelmed with what you have. Like when I got this, I've had the time to really wear it, really sort of get to know it again, because I haven't had other things arriving to take my attention away from it. So pretty much every day since it's arrived, I've either worn this as my scent of the day, or I've just given it a spot on my skin. Let's say I wore something else elsewhere, I would still give it a spot on my skin so that I can smell it. And if I was having loads of stuff arrive, that wouldn't be happening. It would end up getting put on the shelf, and I'd be smelling, wearing the other thing, and then something else arrives, and then I'm like, oh, and I'm gonna feel, this is me personally, and I know we're all different, we might all feel differently about lots of things arriving in the post, but for me personally, when lots of things arrive all at once or over, you know, a short period of time, I don't feel good about that, not really. It might be exciting in the moment, but then I feel like, oh, I've got all these amazing perfumes, but I can only really wear one at a time, or maybe two if they sort of go. But I don't think buying shit is self-care. I wonder if you have a different opinion on that. I'd love you to share it in the comments and let me know what you think. How would you define self-care? Does it need rebranding? I think it does. I think it does. Okay, so that is it. We've finally come to the end. I would love you to suggest for me another topic, like the consumerism is not self-care. If there's something you'd like me to cover, something that we can have a discussion about, then I can put that in my next video. Did you enjoy this? Is it too long? Is it boring? Should I just forget it? Should I quit YouTube? Just let me know. I'm open to anything, so just let me know in the comments below. But I kind of enjoyed doing this. I do struggle sometimes to think of content because I'm not big on the consuming side of things anymore, so sometimes I just don't know what to put out there because I haven't ordered a load of stuff to just quickly show you. This is what I've come up with, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is in the description box. If not, a like, and absolutely do please get in touch in the comments. Bye.